Welcome class 12. Here we are going to begin chapter 2nd, Last Spring of your course. The story describes the pitiable condition of the poor children who have been forced to miss the joys of childhood due to the socio-economic conditions that prevailed in their lives. These children are denied with the opportunities of schooling and forced into the hard labor and struggles in the very early age of their lives. Anis Young gives voice to eliminate child labor by educating the children and to enforce the laws against the child labor very strictly by the governments. Let's know about the author Anis Young. She was born in 1964 in Rourkela and spent her childhood and adolescence in Hyderabad. She received her education from Hyderabad and then from United States of America. She belongs to an aristocratic family of the poets. Before I start, I want to comment about the title Last Spring. Spring is the season, children, you know, when flowers bloom. Similarly, childhood is the period in man's life when he blooms and grows. The writer here presents the horrific truth about the life of the poor children in a country who become the victims of child labor and are denied the opportunities of schooling and forced into the labor in the early period of their life. Thus, the word spring is used here as a metaphor, which thus this is the story about such children whose golden period of life is lost. Let's start. Two stories taken together in this chapter depict the plight of the street children faced into labor and denied the rights of schooling. The first part describes the plight of the poor rag pickers of Simapuri. The second part describes the miserable conditions of the bangle makers of Firozabad. Let's start the first part, that is, sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage. See the first part. Sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage. So this is the story about the rag picker boy Sahib. See now. Why do you do this? I asked Sahib, whom I encounter every morning scrounging for gold in the garbage dumps of my neighborhood. Sahib left his home long ago, set amidst the green fields of Dhaka. His home is not even a distant memory. There were many storms that swept away their fields and homes. His mother tells him that is why they left looking for gold in the big city where he now lives. To this, he replies that there is no school in his neighborhood. The author jokingly promises to open a school for him. But after a few days, Sahib asks if author has opened the school or not. The author is now embarrassed at having made a promise that had no meaning to be fulfilled. Thus, she realized that such promises are meant to these children almost every day. So, she has to not make such fake promises. After some months of knowing him, the author asks Sahib his full name. She is surprised to notice the irony in his name. His name is Sahib Alam, which means the Lord of the universe. She feels that Sahib wouldn't believe what his name means. Unaware of the meaning of his name, Sahib, this rag picking boy, he is roaming the whole day in the streets and doing the work of rag picking. Now, the author becomes more curious to know about the other things of these rag picking children. She asks them very curiously why they don't wear shoes or the footwears. One replies that his mother does not bring them down from the shelf. Another wants and dreams to get the pair of shoes. Now, the girl notices that while moving across the country, she has seen many children walking barefoot. And one of the explanation is that it is the Indian tradition, not the lack of money, that they are not wearing the footwears. The writer here wonders that this is just an excuse to explain away the perpetual state of poverty lying in our country. The next part, the author is feeling pained to know the fact that ragpickers are still barefooted. So let's know. He says that he has met a man from Udupi. He told his childhood story when he was a school going child. On the way, he would cross a temple as his father was a priest there. So he used to pray to the goddess to bless him with a pair of shoes. After 30 years, when the writer visited the town and the temple, now she found the place was nearly empty. The new priest lived in the backyard of the temple. Plastic chairs of red and white color were also kept there. A young boy came running. He had a school bag hung on his shoulders. He threw it and ran away. The writer wants to say that the financial condition of the religious people, that is the priest, have now changed and improved over the last 30 years, but still the lives of these rag picking children are still the same, so they are still shoeless. The next paragraph explains us about the living conditions of the rag picking families. They all reside in Simapuri, that is a slum area, and adjoined to the capital of our country. In 1971, when the rag pickers had migrated from Bangladesh, they had come to this area, which was the wasteland. That moment, Simapuri was still a wasteland, but not have got the valid ration cards, but living there without legal permit. The rag pickers had been living illegally in Simapuri for the last 30 years. They have occupied the area without the government permission, but the ration cards have been provided to them by the politicians of the area because they wanted to use their vote in their favor. Further, the writer gets a chance in the area to talk to the group of women who were wearing the tattered sarees. She asks them that how did they feel leaving their beautiful land of green fields and river. They replied that they are happy here as they are getting food to eat and sleep well at night, though they have got the temporary houses in our country. They were happier to live in the Simapuri than the fields of the Dhaka, which were ruined and giving them no food. The next paragraph explains us about the living conditions of the rag picking families. They all reside in Simapuri, that is a slum area, and adjoined to the capital of our country. In 1971, when the rag pickers had migrated from Bangladesh, they had come to this area, which was the wasteland. That moment, Simapuri was still a wasteland, but not. Simapuri is still a wasteland, but no more empty, as almost 10,000 rag pickers lived here now in the structures made of mud with roofs made of tin sheets or plastic materials called tarpaulin. There was no sewage, drainage, or running water system. They lived in the unhygienic condition in the piece of wasteland where the garbage of the city was collected. These people had started living there illegally. They have got the valid ration cards, but living there without legal permit. The rag pickers had been living illegally in Simapuri for the last 30 years. They have occupied the area without the government permission, but the ration cards have been provided to them by the politicians of the area because they wanted to use their vote in their favor. Thus, the writer understood that for the elders, the garbage is the means of their livelihood, but for the children, it is something that is wrapped in the wonder. The thing, it is a game like to search in the garbage the rupee or coin over there. The children grow up with them. Now they have become the partners of survival. Survival in Simapuri means rag picking. Over the years, rag picking has become the art, as garbage for them is like a gold, as it is only their means of survival. The next in the story, the writer explores about the liking and some dream of the boy ragpicker. Let's know. One winter morning, when the author finds Sahib standing outside the fence gate of the neighborhood club, she asks that what he was doing. He was that moment watching intently the game of tennis. She inquires about the reason of the standing, whether he likes the game. He replies simply that though he likes the game, but he never wants to play it because he knows the limitation of his life, that he could never afford to play this game. In his next meeting with Sahib, the writer is surprised to see this boy. He was carrying a steel canister and he was going to the milk booth. He informed the author that now he works at the tea stall and is paid rupees 800 with all the meals. But the author feels that Sahib seems to be not happy. His face has lost its carefree look. The steel canister seems heavier than the plastic bag. The bag was his, but the canister belongs to the owner of the tea stall. Sahib is no longer his own master. Hope summary is clear, but wait for line by line explanation of the lesson.